Alrighty, we are live. Perfect. Hello all. Thank you for joining us on this very special occasion. I'm going to do my usual little share this around when I leave things to the last minute, and then we're going to get into it all. While Bitcoin is correcting, and some of you will know the significance of this. We did this in the past during bull markets, so we'll get into all that in a second. So spread the love as usual. Come and join us as we do some research, watch the charts, and celebrate a milestone together. Fantastic. And now I'm going to post that in our group, and then I'm going to attempt, because I'm still learning, to post it in our new platform. Awesome. Welcome to our new members. I believe we had another 30 odd this week in the group, and plenty that are just in the platform now. So let's click on Nugget's daily posts. Let's see if I've learnt, guys. You know, never too old to teach. What's the saying? An old dog, new tricks. Okay, and then I've got to highlight my link. Insert link preview. Let's give that a try. That's there. Okay, let's publish that. Well, we better give it a bit of a title. So let's just call that 100K. And that way, the team are going to be happy with me. Mike, Julian, Ala, Chris, James, Tabor, you guys are all legends. We're going to get into all of it first. Oh, crazy kangaroo. And I am going to definitely take some requests. I know some people like to do the whatever it's called, the donations during the stream, but I know heaps of people don't have that set up. So I think in the description there's a Ethereum address, or you can scan that QR code. I'll keep an eye on that throughout the stream, and if there's a coin that you want in particular, we'll have a look at that one for you as well. We'll take some requests, but we are going to fly through the top 100 coins and just spend 10-15 seconds on each, smash them out as well, and we'll see if we can't get an end to this correction. Now, for those of you that are old school, before we had these new tiles and good graphics, we were very, very raw. And this, believe it or not, isn't the first video we ever did. I actually deleted it because I was so embarrassed. So the first video, I think, was called just how to buy cryptocurrency in Australia. And that was because we were getting so many questions in the different Facebook groups I was in about how to just how to buy it. So let's just have a quick look at this one. Should we have a listen as well? We'll have a listen as well. I'll put my headphones in so you don't get echo. But you can just tell there was just not only nervous, just unnatural. And of course you didn't have a good mic or anything either. But you know what? Before we do that, before we go down memory lane, we've got 300 watching already. So it's time for another little special surprise for the occasion. Okie dokie. All right. I've got my special shirt on that I've been saving for a very special occasion. And that is the shirt that I got with Vitalik in EdCon in Sydney. So this is the Ethereum pink unicorn, and it only comes out when we're in the greatest bull market of our lives. So Ethereum, Bitcoin on the charts is looking good. Hopefully that's good, and I think it's Vitalik size as well. But that's another little surprise for you guys, special occasion. Okay, enough mucking around. Where are we? Where do I want to go? So in the comments, who remembers these old school videos? How many of you have been here since the start? I mean, I remember when we had a couple of hundred subscribers and I was over the moon. Okay, I've got my headphones in now, so you guys shouldn't get any nasty echo through my mic, and we'll turn the sound on. And this is the second ever video that we did. Guys, welcome to another episode of Nuggets News. I'm going to go over the most popular cryptocurrencies. A lot of guys, a lot of enthusiasm, just found out about crypto. They've just
$2,000 Bitcoin
exchange. Now you want to know which one to buy, which one's best, which one's going to go up in price next. Okay, so
there you go. So the first video was how to buy, and that's kind of the story of Nuggets News. The second video was I only made it because there was lots of comments on the first video saying, you know, you've shown us how to buy in a couple of these exchanges, or told us basically how it works. What do I buy? And so this next video was called you know, which coin is right for me. And let's have a look at the coins that we actually covered. So from memory, there was a couple of goodies and a couple of baddies.
Sure. Okay, so these guys, Golem, are building decentralized.
I still like Golem.
Computing power. So if you're an architecture firm,
so I think I just ran through. I did. I just ran through roughly the top projects. And you got to remember, this is mid-2017. And so there only really was a couple of dozen projects. We hadn't had any ICOs or anything like that. So we had, you know, Augur, Basic Attention Token, you know, Maker, the DGX. So, you know, some of these you're going to recognize, some of them you won't. But that was basically all the projects that there were that had ICOs. First Blood was meant to be the massive, big gaming esports. Now, I think they're still going, but I think they've hit a lot of roadblocks, so I'm not sure. But look, iExec, they've done really well. Aragon have done well now. Singularity DTV, I think they're still kicking. Don't hear much from them. DGX have shut down the DAO, but the actual gold token and the platform is still going. Maker turned into one of the most important projects, and I actually just did a write-up for members just this afternoon on Maker. I think it's going to have a comeback. And Gnosis and Olga were the two big prediction markets. Basic Attention Token, you all know. Plutus, Tap and Pay. See, a lot of these pay style projects didn't really catch on, and that's when everyone thought, oh, everyone's going to use crypto for payments, and that's not really the direction that it all went. And Golem's still got high hopes for a decentralized computer network. So that's a bit of a trip down memory lane there, guys. Other than that, I'll just comment quickly on a couple of these. If you guys are enjoying all this, if you don't mind something a little bit different. So I remember this one. I remember this one really clearly. I was just, you know, sitting on a chair, putting a few books in the background. We're renovating the house, trying to make it look a little bit better than just bland and renovated bricks. And Bitcoin 7th of June. And in this video, I was speaking about, oh, here we go. We've got a bit of a dip. In this video, I was speaking about how I thought that we had another big wave to go. A lot of people already were worried that Bitcoin was in a bubble because it had run, you know, to $1,000. So that was very, very exciting for me to see a lot of people getting involved. But I spoke about that I thought China and the capital flight out of China would be a really good thing for Bitcoin. As we watch Bitcoin correct here, and we're still in a bit of an uptrend here. So it's not. A lot of people send me messages saying, "Is it time to panic?" and that sort of thing. Guys, you got to remember that we've gone absolutely parabolic here. So we're still, you can even hold this hourly uptrend, and we're still going along okay. I think there's a lot of people that are going to want to buy this dip, whether we get down a bit further to 1600s. Daily, weekly support. If we come back and retest some of these big key levels, even just that 1600 that everyone was so excited about. A day in the crypto market at the moment is feeling like a week. It's only Thursday, so we could have a correction. This is a 4-hour chart. We could have a correction for 24 hours, and we're only into Friday night, and then we could have another huge weekend. I don't want to get too tied down in the price tonight, but I also do think it's going to depend on stocks. And at the moment, I think the second waves of COVID and lockdowns in general are kind of weighing on the stock market a little bit. So that's always been the concern. But Bitcoin was strong enough to do its own thing, really, wasn't it, for a very long time. So we were lucky there. But look, we will push on. So excuse those horrible facial expressions with the camera. As my mate said, the camera's pretty much up your nose. You need to buy a better camera and a new laptop. But this video is talking all about cycles, and that Bitcoin wasn't a bubble, and that Bitcoin had a few more cycles left. So we're talking June 7th, 2017. So right around here somewhere, Bitcoin was, 2016. Let's keep going. 20. So people thought that this was the bubble. We'd hit 3,000 and we started correcting, and people thought that was the bubble and that was it. And I was saying, no, I think we've still got a big run to go. And the other thing you'll remember very clearly was during these periods, let's put it on log chart so it's a bit clearer. These were some of my favorite videos to do when we were crashing, because everyone was so panicked and it was so new to everyone. So this is where are we? 2017. So the crash into the end of mid-July and then mid-September. And when we go back to our old videos, where are we here? 3 years ago. It was all about the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. That's what everyone was sort of scared about. And then these were the videos. So China banned ICOs, BTC, some of you won't have even heard that name. They had to close trading. So these are some of the biggest exchanges in China. And then China followed up by closing all exchanges. And this was kind of temporary, but man, oh man, these were some really good memories. And a couple of these I know you guys made really good money from as well when we were falling hard and people were confident to buy these dips. Where is there the one here where the price literally got down to about $1,800 while we were live on the stream? Let's see if we can find the price chart in here. There we go. Down to 36, and we bottomed at 3,000 after touching 5,000. Yeah, mid-September. This was the night. So it was dropping $100 an hour, and about 5 minutes after I got off this live stream, it actually did bottom, and that's when it started going on that real bull market for the rest of the year. All right, so that was exciting times covering those projects, and good memories. I do wish we still had that first video, even though it was terrible. Anyway. Okay, so let's just check our little donations screen, and I'll check some of the messages coming in as well. I think we've got a few donations in the chat, so let's head on over here. Awesome. All right, Zar14, congrats. Thoughts on 10-cent partnership with ShareRing. So ShareRing is a little Aussie project which have done really well this year. They've basically come from nowhere to get some big partnerships. I mean, 10 cent, it doesn't get much bigger than that. Let's hide that. Let's go over and check out our friends at ShareRing, and it's their ID system, isn't it, that everyone's using? No, that must be the old account. Yeah. But I'm not sure if this one has had a big move yet, but God, 10 cent doesn't get much bigger than that. And let's have a look. So if coins aren't on TradingView, ShareRing's there on KuCoin. Fantastic. This is charts.cointrader.pro/charts, another website where you can type things that are more obscure or that doesn't have a lot of the history. For example, something like Wi-Fi, and this also does really well what other exchanges don't, where you can just look at things like the market cap and the supply. So yeah, I do like that website. But ShareRing, let's have a look. Not a lot of data here. That's what I was worried about. So let's go back over here. Is it share token? It is, isn't it? A bit of a pump on that 10 cent news. So 2 cents the other day, up to 4 cents-ish. But just a monster climb this year. Where are we down here? Half a cent. 0.1 of a cent. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? 0.1 of a cent. 2,000, 3,000% climb. So well done to the guys at ShareRing. That is very cool news. Do you think people may have got it wrong, and it's not like 2017 where alts have to pump? What is this? Just Bitcoin run? Is it possible? Okay. My answer to that question is always fairly similar. So I think that human beings are always roughly going to act the same. And the cycle was the same back in 2014 and 15. So the one I talk about a lot is Aurora Coin. Now, I hope this goes back as far as I want it to. It does. Let's put that on a weekly chart. And a lot of people think there weren't alts before 2017, but there were. No, it's not going to show us there. So there were altcoin runs in 2014, 2015. Aurora Coin. Maybe they've upgraded their logo here a little bit. Maybe it's going to have a second win. Aurora Chain. No, that's not what I want. Anyway, so yes, there's been plenty of altcoin cycles is my message here. And what we can take away from that is that there's always going to be altcoin cycles for different reasons. So in 2017, it was probably Ethereum that kicked it off in a lot of ways, because people were excited that there was another coin that had gone from, it bottomed out at $5, and next thing you know, it's $500. And so people are looking for the, Neo had a huge run because it was the Chinese Ethereum. And now this time around, there's been this theme of DeFi. And I think the gaming and, NFTs, people were paying ridiculous amounts of money for NFTs a couple of weeks ago, weren't they? So people always pick a narrative and they like to think they're early because they missed the last thing. So people are always chasing the next thing. And that doesn't usually end well, because the returns, Ethereum performed well because it was a good project in technology. And just because you had a Korean Ethereum, a Chinese Ethereum, this, that, and the other, none of that really guarantees anything long term. And I think that's kind of why something like Neo has really struggled price-wise. But we might mention those when we whip through everything just quickly. What do you reckon? Let's have another look at some of these questions as they come in. Crypto Michael, can I analyze XRP? So guys, make sure you check out the interview that Crypto Michael, Mikel, my Aussie European is horrible, and I apologize, Michael. Michael, do you want to drop the link in the chat? So it was my debut on Cointelegraph the other day, and Michael and I had a great time with plenty of dad jokes. I'll have a look at XRP.
I do think smart money is entering the space, and that's why some people were still saying that this is all, this is a bubble or it's just whales pushing the market around, because there hasn't been a huge amount of retail hype yet. That's kind of true. I agree with that, but that's a good thing. We want steady growth, and if that retail money hasn't come in yet, then of course that means that there's more FOMO ahead and opportunities to trade, and altcoins are going to pump and some are going to dump, and people are going to do the same mistakes that you made when it was your first time, that I made when it was my first time. So yeah, I very much believe that when people say, oh, it's never going to be an altcoin cycle again, people were saying that in August, September of 2019. That's a bit over a year ago now. But remember coming into this year how a lot of the YouTubers that only covered alts and pumped alts, they had done a backflip, and it's embarrassing to even talk about alts when they're all down over 90%. And so they were sitting on their hands and saying, you know what, I'm becoming a Bitcoin maximalist and I'm mostly Bitcoin. I've sold all my alts. And they're always kind of behind the curve and they're reacting. They're not being proactive. Ian Bellina, he was one of the biggest pushers of altcoins and ICOs. He became a Bitcoin maximalist. And those sort of things, they marked the bottom. So yeah, answer, we are always going to have cycles. I haven't covered Wi-Fi yet. I haven't covered any, guys. We're just having a little bit of a trip down memory lane, a bit of nostalgia. So we will have a quick whip through the top 100 if you like, and then we might have some comments at the end, and hopefully Bitcoin doesn't fall too far during that time. Let's put Bitcoin charts off to the side, or we'll just make this one a little bit smaller so we can still see the charts. Okie dokie. No, we don't want that one in the way. Apologies. Next one. We are there. Cool. You can all see the chart of Bitcoin. Top 100. So, Bitcoin, well, we speak about this to death, but I honestly think that the saying sums it up so well, that no one wanted to be first and now no one wants to be last. And it's whether it's institutions, hedge funds. My old doctor, surgeon, messaged me today and he wanted to know how to buy XRP. No one is immune from FOMO. Immune, pardon the pun there as well at the moment. But you guys get what I'm saying. People have money. The central banks have done, whether or not you want to call it a favor, they'd rather people have too much money. And there's no coincidence that we're seeing Robinhood and Tesla absolutely pump. It's because retail do have a bit of money in their pockets at the moment, particularly, Australia. We're still the lucky country in a lot of ways. So that money is going to come. The big money is going to go into Bitcoin because they want to protect their wealth. They don't want to gamble on, speculate on alts. But retail money is going to go into alts and more speculative ones. But smart money, fund money will go into, DeFi, good quality themes, narratives, projects, teams. And Grayscale have got those products. Billions of dollars can flow into alts as well. Don't think it's not possible. All right, so you all know the use case for Bitcoin. I'm super bullish on Ethereum. I think that money is the biggest thing the world needs to change and upgrade. Technology, privacy, data, the layers of the internet, big tech, the FANG stocks, they've got all the money in the world. That is the next big thing that needs to change, the kind of the Silicon Valley-ish businesses. So I think that presents an opportunity, and so do all the other protocols that are trying to be layer one protocols for us to build on top of. Tether, look, another one that I've taken the opposite stance to what everyone else over the years has always said, Tether's a scam, they print it out of thin air, it's not backed by anything. And I've always said, guys, people say this every year. When Bitcoin goes up and down 1,000%, then down 80%, and people are taking profits in Tether, margin trading against it, sending it to other exchanges, if there was a hole in the system, if someone didn't have money and it wasn't backed, it doesn't work. That system collapses on itself when someone's just funny moneying these tethers, because there's always people selling and going back into real money or trading for other coins and altcoins. So I do not believe that at all. I've got friends that are shareholders in Bitfinex and Tether that get paid dividends. This is a proper
company with equity and shareholders and a board. Okay, it's the news, and a lot of the sorry, I don't even need these anymore, do I? A lot of the competitors to Tether, the other stable coins and exchanges that didn't want Bitfinex to succeed, they run the crypto media companies, so they've got a big incentive to talk down Tether. XRP, I honestly, you guys know that I'm not the hottest on the whole theme of replacing the banks and the current system and the SWIFT system, but putting my thoughts aside, I think that is a good narrative. The old system, it's outdated. It needs a new way to do things. But I just feel that it's kind of every month that goes by now, there's another bank coin, another stable coin, and then all of a sudden they're pivoted to DeFi. Now they're a ledger for assets, and then they're bridging the different ones together. So I just kind of think that, you can say I'm completely wrong. People told me the other day that XRP is actually being used to do 10% of the remittance corridor between, was it Mexico and the US or somewhere else? So again, look, that's great. If that really catches on, then who knows, it can still succeed. But what worries me is that you've got something like that being used and the price is still down 90%. And a lot of the banks, a lot of the early investors that I know in XRP, they've sold, and they said it didn't do what we thought, and it went up 100x, and we've sold out and moved on now. There's other coins, DeFi is the banks, fintech, traditional payments. So look, all you guys that like XRP can all tell me how wrong I was if that one does end up changing the world. So that's fine. Chainlink, oracles, they're really, really important for everything on-chain data. The only question here is, are there other oracles? This one has got the most partnerships and integration by a mile at the moment. Can something else, surpass it? Or are we going to find out that someone else is more competitive because they don't have a token and Chainlink have to change their model to some degree? Look, I don't think so. I really think that they've continued to improve, and it's been an awesome performer, and one that I'd never invested in, but I always liked the narrative of oracles. Litecoin, definitely not the big three. So I used to refer to it as one of the big three because it was the oldest coin without a hard fork. It had the second oldest community. So much to love about Litecoin. It was a test net when Bitcoin was changing, and Bitcoin it has a few changes coming up. Litecoin's going to implement Mimblewimble. There's talks about even doing a fork like with Cardano. Do those two sort of merge and we add privacy? I don't know, but I just think, look, I love it. I love the community and all that, but Litecoin is probably past its prime, as is Bitcoin Cash. These forks are just bleeding. They can't really survive long term on the basics of how things are working now. It needs to be funded by someone else's pocket. It's just not going to remain that profitable for miners because these communities are so small comparatively. So we've already seen 51% attacks, and I just think the way that they carry on social media, they isolate themselves from the rest of the crypto community. They're not going to make any friends. Maybe Bitcoin Cash as cash, same as Litecoin and all these other cryptos, they can maybe complement Bitcoin if it doesn't scale. But then we've already seen, coins coming onto ETH and layer 2s. So that remains to be seen, the payment side of things. Polkadot, I am bullish on Polkadot and Cosmos. The whole interoperability, you can almost maybe think of them as a layer 0 that goes underneath all the layer 1 protocols. Binance, still the biggest exchange, but I think their days are numbered, or all centralized exchanges, their days are numbered. They're probably going to have one more good run. If we have another huge bull market and alt season, they're going to make a killing. They're going to make so much money on fees and new customers. So I don't have really any problem if that's your narrative and reason to own them. But I am a fan of FTX, and I do think that they offer a different, more professional kind of experience. And if there's those types of people coming in, Alameda Research, they were from the Wall Street background, so they might have a lot of Wall Street traders come. So I'm probably more bullish on FTT as a token, but maybe I'm biased. They're all going to do fairly similar, I guess, aren't they, in a bull market? Cardano, they've
had their delays and setbacks, but so is every project. I do like how they're trying to use ADA as an actual cryptocurrency. They do make that clear, and then they've got the smart contract as a second different layer. So for me, the race for them is getting devs and projects and partnerships. You can keep talking about how good the technology is and getting it all, certified and academic research or whatever they refer to it as, but can they compete with the huge network effects of these other projects that are already in front of them? So remains to be seen. I kind of touched on BSV. I do think that these forks, but particularly once you get down to these ones, and there's actually 100 forks. So once you get down to these ones, I think a lot of people don't claim their coins. So these are really falsely inflated numbers because the circulating supply is just so much different in reality. USDC, that's the most regulated stablecoin, so that could possibly overtake Tether in future. EOS, I think, has been a poor performer. I think it's let people down. Raised $3 billion, and what have they produced? The voice social media app at a time when everyone hates Facebook. I don't really know anyone that's using it or anything like that. So I know projects that have left EOS. Wallets are still really hard to use. I just think that too much money and not enough passion or community. Maybe they're going to turn that around and prove me wrong, but again, I know the big funds and that invested, a lot of them have sold out of EOS. Wrapped Bitcoin, I think giving Bitcoin more utility by being on Ethereum is cool. I got no problem with that. This one's the centralized one, you custody with Bitco. Some people want that, others want a decentralized Bitcoin on top of their Ethereum. So yeah, does this kill Bitcoin if 50% of Bitcoin comes to Ethereum? Does that kill Bitcoin? Do miners still mine if they're not confirming the transactions? If all the transactions are actually being done on Ethereum? Those are questions that are a long way off. I think Bitcoin is perfectly fine and safe, and this is a complement. Privacy coins. They've had a bit of a bull run this year, which I didn't think. I thought they were going to go down when they got delisted. They've gone up in price since they all got delisted. That is something that I got wrong in terms of, the price and the outcome there. So these have always been community driven. And the only question for me is, well, what happens once Litecoin is private and Ethereum is fully private? Bitcoin has more privacy. Do privacy coins still hold their market cap? I'm not sure. It's going to depend on the quality of the privacy of the others. Tron, look, I think everyone knows it's a copycat of Ethereum and it's a bit of a joke, but it is what it is. Like if Ethereum was $20 the other day to send Tether, I don't mind using Tron to send from one exchange to another because it's free. So it is what it is. Maybe they've got a lot of gambling dApps. Maybe that's being used to launder money in China. I got no idea, but it just kind of, Tron is Tron. It's a little bit like Dogecoin in some ways, but it's Chinese and worse, to put it nicely. There's some people that think a lot worse of Justin Sun than I do. I just think he's a little bit of a character. And anyway, Tron is Tron. Stellar, I think that they've lost their way a little bit as well, similar to XRP. You just don't really hear what the grand plan is anymore from those kind of projects. But I love Jed McCaleb. Maybe he's got something in the works, but not one that I read a lot about or see much about, so don't have a lot to say. And remember, these are coins that have got market caps well over $1 billion, and where I'm going to go with all this is I think a lot of the DeFi projects are going to overtake them. It just makes sense to me that Uniswap, Synthetics, Aave, why don't they have bigger market caps than some of these coins that have got literally zero happening or haven't changed much in years? That's the way I'm thinking about it. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that one, Sleepy Cod. Picking my dry lip. Too much sun. There's actually sun. Dry lips. Okay. So CDI. Compound DAI, a little bit misleading again with these market caps because a lot of people deposit their DAI into Compound, and so it's not really like we've got two lots of DAI, but the coin market cap counts it this way. So this is just, DAI is very popular and it's used in a lot of different places.
OKX exchange token, same narrative as other exchange tokens, just whether or not they're going to do a lot of volume. Tezos, look, one that you kind of, it's a bit more professional in terms of the layer ones and protocols and the partnerships and that it's going for. It was all the rage when people were talking about staking and baking their Tezos, but once again, you can give me 10 or 20% staking rewards, but if there's not a lot of dApps on there and people aren't treating it as a store of value, people just dump the coin once they get it. So you've got to have incentives and utility for your coin. So it's a big challenge for all proof of stake coins going forward. If the really big ones, ADA, Ethereum, have good, attractive rewards, what are the smaller proof of stake coins got to offer if they're less secure and less liquid? And I think we're going to kind of see concentration of that in a lot of ways. CRO token, you guys know that I'm not really a fan of their model. I think that a lot of what they do, it's a bit of a lock up $200 and you might get $100 worth of value. It just mathematically doesn't make sense. Some of the high rewards were initially based on paying you out with this CRO token. They actually ran out of money with their first token in the ICO. They blew it all on traveling the world like a lot of projects. So I always said they didn't need either token. Now one of them's dead. They dropped their fees and users got really upset with them the other day. When I just listen to the CEO talk, I just don't see any real direction or inspiration. And something like Celsius is at the other end of the spectrum. Alex, the CEO, has got a lot of energy and he's passionate and he's giving users of Celsius back a way bigger cut than what CRO have. But look, at the moment they've got, I'm not sure how much money left, but they're throwing around a lot of money. They offer YouTubers a fortune to shill them. So maybe in a bull market, they're one of the ones that performs well, because that's kind of how retail money acts and performs. They chase the hype and things that are promoted. Leo is the Bitfinex exchange token. Bitfinex, you wouldn't know they even had an exchange token, most of you, because Bitfinex isn't in the news cycle, because the news cycle is controlled by guys that have other interests. Atom, that's the Cosmos token. I mentioned it before with Polkadot. I'm kind of bullish on this whole interoperability network, so I can't wait to see how that plays out. Neo, the good news was when China kind of acted friendly to these open public blockchains, and that's their case to really succeed, is to get adopted and used in China, I reckon. Filecoin, a little bit overpriced, overvalued. It's come back a fair bit already, but I just love decentralized file storage. That theme and that narrative of Web3, D-Web as I call it. If this one was kind of cheaper, I could get in early, I'd be all over it as an investment. So I love Filecoin. I'm just not sure I want to invest at $1 billion market cap. You can think of this as decentralized Amazon Web Services and the Google Clouds of the world. They're such big opportunities. Okay, NEM. They've actually got the big NEM upgrade that was meant to happen 3 years ago is coming. And I think you've got to claim a different coin. So maybe that's mostly a marketing thing to start over fresh, turn over a new leaf. But it's going to fall in that category of layer one protocols. Can they get people to use them instead of everything else? DAI. So DAI recently passed their $1 billion market cap, which is awesome. They've got a debt ceiling. They keep on raising that. Maker had to have 0% on their kind of loans and borrowing money for a while there, and people weren't really making money off fees and that rate. So now it's gone back up. I think Maker is going to start making a lot more money as a protocol, and I think they're actually going to upgrade the Maker coins utility, like we saw with Kyber, Synthetics, Aave. I think they're going to redo their tokenomics, or I would if I was them, put it that way. I hope they do. Huobi exchange token, same as the other exchanges. Aave, absolutely love it. The fact they've got the lending license in the UK, this has been our best performer. I just can't take my hat off to Matt, our head of research, enough. So they did a chain split, a token split. Was it 10 for 1 or 100 for 1? 100 for 1, I think it was, wasn't it? So he covered this back when it was 0.3 of a cent, and it's gone up 210x. So $1,000 at the time it was not even early 2019. It was kind of mid or late 2019. You still could have got this one and turned $1,000 into $200,000. I mean, that is just phenomenal, and that's why I love DeFi and doing the research when those sort of bets pay off. Dash, I think, was it Tiki and the guys that picked their top 5 coins had Dash in it again the other day. I just don't see how, masternodes and staking was the bull case, and that's kind of gone now. Maybe they've got big adoption in certain developing countries that you don't hear or see much about, but yeah, I just don't see the real value prop for that one compared to other projects I'd rather invest in. Wi-Fi, I love this. It is so misunderstood. People think that, people are paid to shill it when there's not even a company that could pay you. Put it simply, guys, Wi-Fi is just going to get people the best interest rate, and everyone wants yield and the best interest rate. And the owners that own the token and the platform, they're the owners of that Wi-Fi bank or whatever you want to think of it as. So they're going to get a cut. So if there's $1 billion locked in the Wi-Fi system and they're charging people 5% fees, management or withdrawals or whatever they end up settling on the fees for, that's $50 million that the holders of the tokens get. And so there's a very clear value proposition here. And because there's a low number of tokens and people see the price, they think that's really high. But people are the herd. 90% of people don't understand this stuff. I think Wi-Fi will go to $100,000, and that will only get it to a market cap of $3 billion, which would put it not even in the top 10. Okay, and people are going to be saying, "Oh, this is a bubble, $100,000 a coin." They don't understand it. So I couldn't be more bullish on Wi-Fi. Celsius, I spoke about before. I like them out of all the kind of cardy, CeFi style projects. Hat off to Alex, the CEO. He's done a good job. VeChain, I do kind of like Sunny and those guys. I think they're kind of more unique in terms of their target audience, who they're getting to use their protocol, but they do have big partnerships in places even like Australia. So we're going to find out in the next few years who gets used and who doesn't. Uniswap, I am bullish on this narrative of DEXs and swapping. What I think is that as much as people love to hate it, Sushi, and I said Sushi was a good project and a good narrative, I still think that you've got this coin that's great, but a lot of it is held by early investors and VCs. And maybe in the crypto community, in the world of DeFi, they're going to prefer that all the profits go to the DeFi community. So that is kind of that scale of where that fight ends. A lot of money left Uni the other day when the rewards stopped and went to Sushi straight away. And then Uni have upgraded their rewards and extending them. So it's going to be this back and forward about who's got the best rewards. So it's good for users. You guys are going to have low fees. IOTA, another one that's massively misunderstood. It is pretty centralized, but that doesn't matter. Big companies that have partnered with IOTA don't care if it's a little bit more centralized than others. And they've got huge partnerships that most people have no idea about. I still like IOTA. BUSD, that's just Binance's stable coin. Ethereum Classic, it would be dead if it wasn't for Grayscale and Barry Silbert basically keeping this one alive. And I think their ultimate plan is to push this really hard when ETH is going through its transition phase. And maybe, again, they own CoinDesk, digital currency group, Grayscale, Barry Silbert. So maybe the media can portray this thing that the big ETH transition, it's risky, this is going to happen. Just use Ethereum Classic. And their owners, they would own more than half of this, I reckon, between all the Grayscale investors, the fund, and Barry Silbert and that community. So it's in their interest to pump their bags. Having said that, Ethereum Classic have kind of run out of money in developers, but hey, they're still here and they're number 37. And they've got Ethereum in the name, so anything happens in bull markets. Zcash, they've just had a halvening or hard forks and improvement. Halving, did I say hard fork? Anyway, that's got a monster supply. It has grown so much, and it's still got a higher inflation than other coins, so it's the same arguments as the other privacy stuff. Compound ETH, that's all that is. Theta, I really like this idea of streaming. One that I do want to get the team on and speak about. So I do like Theta. Synthetics, second best performer behind Aave. Invested at this one in 3 or 4 cents, and I think it got to $7 or $8, didn't it? So another one that did 200x return. I couldn't love it more. And just the idea of synthetic assets where you can trade anything and it doesn't have a slippage. You don't have to worry about liquidity. It's just a synthetic asset to give you exposure, and we're starting to see other platforms build on top of synthetics. This has the potential to be the basis of the new Wall Street in future. Now, that's a massive long shot off, and there's probably others, and Wall Street will upgrade. But I'm just saying that actual technology underpinning all this is just so cool. And they're one of the first that are going to scale. Waves, I do like Waves, a bit of an old school community getting into DeFi. Niche, but it's always there in the top 50 or so, isn't it? So good on them. Maker needs to upgrade, but decentralized central bank is still a bullish narrative, and they're the owners of the governance system who collect the fees for all that DAI that is out there in circulation. Amici I've heard a little rumor that they're really pushing hard to work with the central banks to build on the Amici plasma layer for their CBDC coins. Now, yesterday they announced they didn't announce it, did I? I'm not sure if this is public, but I let members know earlier this week. Amici are integrating with Ledger, and so if you can send all your Ledger payments and on Ethereum, but they're scaled, this is a layer 2 solution that's automatically plugged into your Ledger. That's really bullish. That means that Ledger would run Amici they would stake all their OMG coins, and then Bitfinex would, and then Coinbase would, and all the exchanges would send their coins to each other over Amici That if that all happens, that is really bullish for OMG. Compound, I love this idea of being the bank and lending and borrowing. Comp token holders get fees. Again, is it too centralized like Uniswap in terms of who owns a lot of those tokens? We're going to see competitors that list other coins that Compound don't for lending and borrowing. So that's all good. UMA, I love this as well. Another team that are experimenting with the idea of different pairs and synthetic assets in the DeFi world. So another one I really like. Pax token, in the world of stable coins and pegged coins. Ontology, it's basically the same as Neo. When I explain it's the whole China thing. Dogecoin, it's just the old school community coin. I love the fact that a joke coin that doesn't have the CEO left it, and it's still worth 360 million. FTT, I spoke about why I'm bullish on that for the exchange reasons, and I think they've just got better products than Binance, so that's ultimately why they become the number one exchange. Even though they do a lot of things wrong, and some people don't like it when they short, they shorted Wi-Fi into the ground so they could buy up heaps of it, and now they're probably going to let it fly. Things like that are a grey area, and some people would say, ethically that's maybe not right, but it's the Wild West, guys. Use it to your advantage. Just Compound's version of USDC, Aave's version of A-Link. Kasuma is the testnet for Polkadot, so maybe a comparison would be Litecoin to Bitcoin. Not quite, but a bit of a testnet. Ren BTC, so they're just like the wrapped Bitcoins. They're the Ren version of Bitcoins on Ethereum. Basic attention token, you guys all know that I freaking love this browser. It's so cool that it blocks all the ads for you. Whether or not people see that as a way to store money, it's more of a transactional currency, a bit of a tipping thing. So it's a little bit of fun, I guess. I mean, most people wouldn't mind if they had $10 or $20 of BAT laying around in their wallet at all times. And if they get to 1 billion users, does that mean it's 10 or 20 billion market cap? So maybe, I'm not sure. Digibyte, another really old school one that's got a good old community. Not one that I've ever really used much, but hey, again, they're just always there. And these old projects that have survived a couple of cycles are more likely to never go away. So they've got the longevity in their court. Whether or not these guys make more of an effort to get into DeFi, you see some of these announcements recently to keep with the times. It's all about the users. True USD, another stable coin.
Ren, the protocol that allows you to do dark pools or to wrap to Ren your Bitcoin or however you want to think about it. I think it's a really cool project. 0x, if you haven't used Matcha, use the Matcha. Matcha is probably the biggest competitor to Uniswap. So it's just spelled match with an A, and I think it's .xyz, isn't it? .xyz. No. Okie dokie. I'll show you that one later, but more dexes are going to be built on top of 0x, and that's what I do like about that protocol. That is a pretty bullish argument. So it's still one of the top DeFi ones, I would say. HUSD, another stable coin. Zilliqa, high throughput, scaled blockchain. Are they going to get a lot of adoption before everyone else scales, is what I would say there. They've got the domain names, so the .cryptos and things like that as well. So a little bit going on there, which is cool. Decred, really strong community. I think that they've got a big treasury. They've got a treasure chest of money, a strong community. The proof of work, proof of stake hybrid system, the Bitcoin crowd kind of like them. So it's one that I'd probably say it's going to do better when everything else is doing worse. So in times like the next crypto winter, something like this could make its way to the top 10 because it's so strong. So yeah, I'm interested to see where Decred go because they've got a lot of optionality. Energy Web Token, this is kind of overtaken Powerledger as the number one, I guess, energy platform. Other YouTubers have covered this to death, so I've never really covered it, but I'm not sure if it gets overhyped or they have got a lot going on. But yeah, interested to see if the token can hold its price because of how well it does. It has run with a lot of coverage, and I want to know whether that's just come from investment hype from retail or if there's a lot of actual use going on in the background. Qtum, old school hybrid mix of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't really hear much about it in terms of progress and adoption. Aave Ethereum, Stacks Coin. This is a project I don't know a lot about, to be honest. Blockstack. Which one is this? I'm sure I will know when I see it. Is this one of the staking ones? It is, isn't it? So if you need their token to stake, build an app, write smart contracts. Blockstack. Okay, no. Well, I don't know too much about the one in the. It looks like it's another just layer one, with privacy. Try and do a bit of everything. And these are the ones where I just think, how are you going to compete with Ethereum and the likes of those when you're just another layer one? So that's why I haven't maybe heard of that. Loopring, I love Loopring and the whole, how they've scaled and brought out Loopring Pay. Rails is built on top of them. They've got Loopring Dex. They've got Loopring Margin Trading. I love Loopring. Algorand, another layer one. Is it going to get its partnerships and how is it going to differentiate itself from everyone else? Vitae, I don't know this one. Has this snuck into the top 100? Luckily, I'm going to power through the rest of these guys. So ICX, I like the ID stuff in Korea. BTT, BitTorrent token. I've never used a token using torrents. I don't think you guys have either. Reserve rights, I love this one. I love that idea. Very similar to Maker in the central bank idea of what it's doing. Social media platform, Vitae, okay. Might have a bit more of a look into that one later. Kyber, I love Kyber and Dexes and swapping and the new tokenomics there where you can stake your Kyber tokens. Ocean, I love the data, the decentralized web, very strong narrative. Insurance with Nexus Mutual, I love it. One of our best performers. We got people in at $2 for this one and it hit $80 later in the year. Was it a few months ago? Hashgraph, I think there's so much overhanging supply. I do not see this one as a good investment. I don't really see
Even as it's not a blockchain, it's just kind of a bit nothing for me. Is it going to get corporate enterprise adoption? Maybe, but I know there's a lot of big investors that are a long way underwater, and it's not going to go up in price and hold anytime soon. Quant Network, yes, I do like Quant Network and the stuff that they are doing. I listened to an interview the other day and it changed my mind, so I would like to get them on the channel. It's one that I don't know how I didn't really hear a lot about it, because there's so many people that are really passionate about it. Connecting the world of distributed ledgers, bit of a hub and spoke model again, supply chain, DeFi, a bit of everything. Rune Thorchain, they are a bit of a competitor with Ren protocol, so they are bridging the different chains and all the different DeFi worlds. That is a very cool idea, and that's been a strong performer this year. Lisk, older layer one. It's survived a couple of cycles, so it's got that in its favor, but does it have adoption? Sushi, I do think Sushi is going to have a bit of a comeback. I did a write-up for this one on members the other day. It shot itself in the foot, but that doesn't mean that it's not still a good idea and concept that can really compete with Uniswap. Most people would have no idea that SushiSwap is about to bring out margin trading between altcoins. That is very cool in terms of that concept. The developers here are high-class, world-class devs that are doing cool stuff. And I love it when people hate a project. People told me I was shilling Wi-Fi. People were saying it was going to zero. Everyone is negative on Sushi, and that's when it has more potential upside because it's hated. Okay, Ampleforth, I don't like this project or this idea of a stable coin that changes the supply instead of the value. Just doesn't. Elastic supply makes zero sense to me. I think it's a silly idea. Bitcoin Gold, fake market cap because people don't claim their coins. It's a nothing coin really. This is just the Aave version of USDC. Luna, one that's is this the payments network popular in South Korea, that kind of thing? Yeah, Spend, Chai. Yep. A fairly new one that I don't know heaps about, but one that I might look up a bit more. ESD, don't know much about that either. Sorry guys, let's check that out. Band Protocol, that is the competitor to Chainlink, another Oracle one. I love Engine, so bullish on gaming. Nexo, I don't mind all the lending and that kind of thing. Numeraire, one that we got into very, very early again in the community. This is a decentralized sort of data and hedge fund style projects. And if you're in our community, read up our report on Numeraire because it is, again, one that I think is so underrated in the world of DeFi. Seacoin, Web3, decentralized file storage, love it. Balancer, another competitor in the world of DeFi. You can make your own different pools for trading assets and lending. KRT, Carrot, is it? I'm not sure about that one. I'll look it up in a sec. Then we've got Aragon. I love decentralized DAOs, so we're going to have more and more decentralized businesses on the internet, and they're going to use Aragon to do their thing. eGold, is that just gold-backed coins? HBTC, another version of Bitcoin. Mana, Status Network, okay. Bitcoin Diamond, still 99. Decentraland, so bullish on. So let's have a look at these last couple that I didn't know as well. So AR, actually, I do know this one. So this is decentralized file storage, permanent file storage. So another Web3 DWeb. I love it. Oh, Swissborg. That ticker always confuses me. Another one that got hyped a lot, and I really worry when I hear about a coin through YouTubers and Twitter, but I don't hear about it at all through my research, okay, and through my networks and different people, and that is what worries me there. So, a way to invest in different assets, not yet here in Australia. There's a lot of these cool apps, but do they need a token? That's kind of the way I think about these things. Oh, sorry, Elrond, another good layer one that look, they back themselves. They're talking a big game, but can they compete with all the other layer ones? I do like some of the the tokens and the assets that they're talking about bringing out on top of their own chain, which apparently it's highly scalable. You know, they're talking up thousands and thousands of transactions a second, but yeah, I don't always know if those claims get backed up in real life. Yeah, e-gold. Okay, cool. Well, guys, that is my whip through. That's gone an hour. I'm sorry it's gone so long. Top 100. You got to hear them all. Spot on an hour. Not too many tips coming in. Does that mean I'm doing a bad job? 5 thumbs down, 200 thumbs up. That's not too bad. Guys, let's see if we can get everyone that's watching the video to smash the like. It's free to do. I promise you it's free to do. You won't get a surprise charge on your YouTube account. And that would be awesome. And for those of you that are just joining, I've got the special shirt on. We've got the 100,000 subscribers. If you've never hit the like button before, you're worried that the NSA, the CIA, they're going to know that you watch Nuggets News and that you're a bit of a rebel. Just forget all that for one night. Go with the flow. The next DeFi coins that will moon. Okay. Should I give away my alpha? Okay, so most of you know that the coin that I'm probably most bullish on for next year is Red Fox Labs, because there's a lot of good gaming projects. Some of them are pretty fully valued. You look at your engines, Decentralands, and they've got pretty big market caps already, and they're well known. The reason that I like these smaller ones is because they're the other end of the spectrum. So they're unloved. Liquid is not the best exchange. If you don't know, Liquid got hacked the other day, and it's an exchange that I KYC'd on to get some Red Fox, and for all I know now, my documents are out there somewhere. That kind of sucks. It's always dangerous. It's the risk using these smaller tier exchanges. But look, they are actually a professional exchange. So they're Japanese, and they're really strict on KYC. So they're not the sort of exchange that's going to run away with your money or anything like that. But Red Fox, as you know, they're kind of no frills. So Benny and the guys didn't really want to pay to get on exchanges. I'm definitely in favor of that. Now they're on Uniswap, and they've done a killer job building up that liquidity there. I think there's probably more exchange listings coming, but I'd rather the exchanges come to a project when they're to the point that they've had so much good news and announcements and users that they demand to be listed, or people want to buy it. So exchanges see that and they list it rather than paying $500,000 to some of these, mid-tiers or top-tier exchanges. So the reason I like them, if you haven't read the new black paper and the light paper and that, it's just because it's multifaceted. So they help incubate new businesses, up-and-coming businesses, but they've got these different ventures. So these are obviously buzzwords, but they've actually built a lot of these already. You've heard about the games, and the next lot of cogs are coming out, I think, in a couple of weeks. They made the swap over to Ethereum so they can get involved in the world of DeFi and all that. And it's very, very cool. In terms of the actual ventures, they've got their game that's coming out, I think, in the coming weeks. So they've built a whole game, and they've got the cogs and NFTs. These are just things that they've invented themselves. Then they're going to start to do these branded. So let's say you partner with Star Wars, then you can do Star Wars cogs and digital collectibles. And they're going really hard in Southeast Asia, where everyone's on these mobiles and the kids love this stuff. So yeah, just a lot of potential there, and they're already making revenue. They're the number one NFT on Wax, which is the king of NFT chain. And who knows about them? I spoke to Mike Novogratz the other day, and I always try and pitch these guys cool ideas or just gaming in general, and then we get talking. And these guys love those sort of things. Mike invested heaps in Wax, and he didn't even know Red Fox was the number one NFT on Wax. So it just takes a few good announcements, then you get on the radar of a few crypto people. Barely any YouTubers have even covered this. And then you get on the radar of more people, then they see the users and they see the NFTs. And then hopefully VC funds come in and swoop in and say, well, you've got this many users, and I like the risk to reward, and I like things that are unloved. And you say, well, can a project in theory do 100x? It's a lot easier to do that from, it was $1 million when we first covered this and started trying to dollar cost average in. It's only 10, 15 million at the moment. So can that go to $1 billion? It's a lot easier than a project that's already 150 million that has to go to 15 billion to get those big returns. So that's kind of the way I think about all that. But just in general, I'm bullish on gaming, Web3, NFTs, still DeFi, still blue chip DeFi projects, and then Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then individual industries that I think can be disrupted. And that's how I put together my portfolio. And members know all that already. So, guys, look, just to wrap up, it has been just an absolute whirlwind, I guess, the past 3.5 years. From where we came, from how bad the old Nuggets News logo was. Do some of you remember this? Nuggets News. We had an old Captain Planet style logo. It was shocking. I made it in Microsoft Paint because I thought, you know what, I need a logo. I need a logo for YouTube. And then everyone gave me crap about it for so long. Nearly went with this one, the Denver Nuggets style text and logos, when I was Googling stuff. And there's actually, speaking about rare NFTs and collectibles, there's only about 100 t-shirts ever printed with this logo on it, and some of you have them. Oh, that's the final thing that I'll just mention. For members, this NFT for the now the Vitalik interview is out. There's a private gathering. There's only 20 spots. There's 16 available. This is a Dutch auction, meaning it gets cheaper, it goes down. We're going to run this at a time when everyone suits everyone once those tickets are sold. So we're going to get together. We're going to talk about the Vitalik interview, any questions you've got about any crypto in general, but more talk about the upcoming documentary and kind of what I'm excited about with that, what I learned, and where I think ETH is going as well. So if you're interested in that, you'll purchase the NFT and there'll be details about a secret group to join and whatnot. And in future, we're going to be giving away more NFTs for access to free events in Decentraland. But in the past, we did some paid events when we went round and people liked these private dinners or private get-togethers. So that was the idea of doing a private paid get-together. Some people like to have a little bit of smaller one-on-one time or small community time, because we do 99% of our stuff for free. Guys, that has been awesome. I really appreciate you all subscribing, sharing the content around. Honestly, the team is now up to 24 staff, and they put in so much time and effort in the office in Melbourne to create free resources that are mainly focused on beginners to help people. And that's where I don't mind putting money in, because I believe it gets returned to you, over the years. People know you and trust you, and eventually they might become paid members. So that's the way I like to run things. And I hope you appreciate all that, and I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.